Hello, my name's Jessica Farnham and I'm a curator, and this is...
I'm Jacob and I'm an artist.
Right, the reason we're here today is to talk a little bit about your forthcoming show at Tenderpixel Gallery this Thursday. Perhaps just for the benefit of the listener, you could talk a little bit about your work and what you're going to show.
Okay, yep. In the exhibition I've got a series of architectural photographs of interior spaces and some portraits. The architectural interior spaces, a few things about them make them initially difficult to read. Maybe if you explain what it feels like to look at them, might be a good way of
Okay.
going into that.
Well, I think just when I first saw your work, they were in a separate room at the Barge House by the Thames, and I think I was just really, really impressed. Sometimes when I see work that I really like, it's difficult to perhaps formalise the feelings about the work in a kind of theoretical framework. But yeah, I like the scale of the work, I like the arrangement, I like the size of the work. Just they were very impressive because they were so large. I think I felt swallowed up by the images in front of me. But they're just generally very pleasing to look at. As I say, the structure, the arrangement, and also the colour. I might call it hyper-realistic colour, but you probably would disagree with me. I don't know how you'd want to describe that. But I mean, basically, if we just say, obviously, the works are of swimming pools, but it's not always, you can't always tell that straight away because of the way they're arranged. I don't know if you want to say a bit more about that.
Yeah, well, I've sat in the room when people have been looking at the images, and there's a certain number of things I've done to make it less obvious what's going on, one of which is turning the whole image upside down, and also photographing them in a way that the reflection is of equal weighting to the actual space. So you end up with an image where you view the reflected half before really you view the actual real concrete swimming pool, which is kind of laid out beneath it.
Yes.
Because it's been inverted.
I see the reversal of the, not the reversal, but the turning upside down of the image is quite a subversive act. Disrupting the way people perhaps read things from left to right or from bottom to top. Why have you I mean, do you see that as a subversive act, or I mean, why have you chosen to do such a thing?
I mean, yeah, I think a lot of people find it very challenging that I've done that, and they either think it's a gimmick or that they find it upsetting in some way. I mean, it is a subversive thing to do, to turn something upside down. If you look at, the Christian cross, if you turn that upside down, that's very subversive. Or flying the American flag or any national flag upside down is a very subversive thing to do. But I think in terms of how it works with my images, it does something much more important, because it places you in the reflected world as if it's real, because your perceptual logic reads the image much quicker than your cognitive brain can catch up with, and so when you look at it instantly, you become involved with the reflective world as if that's an inhabitable space, and then the real concrete swimming pool beneath it also becomes this strange uninhabitable space, because you're left trying to traverse it upside down, which is impossible because there's no kind of means of escape, and often you're walking across glass, so you're kind of put in this alien position, and it can be quite upsetting. And you've also got a huge mass of water hovering above your head, which is quite difficult to deal with, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. So if we come again to the actual image, you've chosen to take pictures of swimming pools. Why would you say you're particularly interested in these leisure spaces, and what about them draws you to them?
I think in general, in my work, I'm really interested in progress and potential, human motivation and drive, and what pushes us forward, or the things that we have in our life that give our life meaning. I think swimming pools and leisure spaces in particular deal with this in a really interesting way, both on a personal level, how, when you go to a swimming pool, you're working on the body beautiful and developing or bettering yourself in that kind of physical way, but also on a cultural level, a society which has leisure spaces or universal leisure spaces for everyone, so that everyone's within a couple of miles of a swimming pool, suggests that the lower needs of the population have already been met. So people have got enough food, everyone's in work, and all of the kind of basic elements of society are running properly, and then you're able to build these leisure spaces. So it kind of posits the question: what do we do now? What do we do once all of our lower needs have been met? It's potential. It's like sorry. It's the frightening point at which, having met the basic needs, the focus turns on what can we do next, and how can we fully actualise the human potential where we've got to so far.
Yes. I mean, when you talk there about swimming pools, it's so hard to divorce people from environment. The environment is built for the people to be used. But your work and your landscape architectural images, if I can call them that, they don't have people in. The swimming pools are empty. Why have you chosen to divorce people and place?
Well, I think it's really important for the swimming pools to be completely empty. For them to do what I wanted them to do, they had to be completely empty, because there would be no reflection. If there were people swimming in the pools, there would be no reflection. There would be no second space created in which to kind of draw out the imagination of the person that's viewing the image. But I did want to incorporate some of the people that worked in the pools. I thought was a really important element of the work. And so, because the pools had to be empty, when I photographed the people, I wanted them to be completely divorced of any context, so that they were completely on their own. And they're also a typology as well, because there's many pictures of people and everything else is the same. And if I completely took them out of their background, you start to notice smaller things about each individual person, but they become part of a whole as well.
Yes. I mean, another thing that we've spoken about before when we've been preparing a show is the